video I'm going to show you a quick demonstration on how to put your wheel and tire rendering that you did in Inventor Studio onto a car photo of your choice. And the real important reminder here is to make sure that you start with a car photo that is very large. So in other words, some kind of 1,000 by 1,000 size when you did your Google search. The better your original image is, the better the final product will be. In this picture here, I've already done the front wheel. This is my Inventor Studio wheel and tire, and we can see that we still have the rear tire to do. But actually, I'm going to restart from scratch just so you can see the whole process here and just exactly how I laid it out, and so a few little tricks that you can do with the image even in Photoshop to hopefully make it look even better yet if your Inventor Studio was just a little bit off yet. Key thing, high quality car photo, and then make sure your wheel and tire are the proper angle so that they look correct when they're on the car. They're not leaning in or out, they're not turned too much one direction or the other. All real key things to setting this all up. So without anything else here, let me close this and get started from the beginning. First thing we're going to do is open up your car picture, and hopefully you found a few different car picture ideas that you want to run with. I am going to go with this one here, and Alt and Roller lets you zoom on the computer, and then Roller lets you go up and down, and if you hold the space bar and left click hold, you can pan all around. Okay, so a couple just shortcuts for you there. First thing we need to do is to really darken out our wheel area. And there's a few ways we could try to leave the brake rotor behind, and you're welcome to try all that. But I'm going to give you just a very basic rundown. Maybe some of you car enthusiasts will go a little crazy here and just see how great you can make this. But we're going to start with a selection tool, and we're going to choose the elliptical selection tool. And what I'm going to do is it's going to be an oval, and the way you kind of have to think about this is you're really drawing a box that defines the width of the oval and the height of the oval. So I'm going to come up here and start and drag this down and to the right. I just want to make sure it's plenty big that it's going to enclose the wheel. And let go, and once you let go, that sets the size. Oh, I missed. Well, let me try again quick. And it's not uncommon that this takes a few tries. Right there. That looks pretty good. And actually, the layout's really good. If it's not exactly where you want it, you can carefully drag it around and get it just right, as long as the size is right. And we're looking for a shape that goes all the way around the wheel and just ends somewhere here in the tire. And then I'm going to go over to my tools, and I'm going to find the paint selector tool, or paint sample, and it looks kind of like an eyedropper. And I apologize. Oh, there it is. Sorry. It was right on top there. And I'm actually going to go in and just pick, probably the darkest point of the tire somewhere, just to get a color set. And I'm going to go back over and get my brush tool, and we're going to paint the inside of this away. And the reason we set this elliptical shape up is because now you can't paint outside of it. You don't have to worry about getting your the rest of your car picture all painted over or down here on the road. I'm just going to darken in the wheel. And don't worry about the tread from the old tire. We're actually going to kind of overlay our picture onto that, and it'll all look great when it's done. You can use the bracket buttons above the enter key to make this a bigger paintbrush. And right bracket is bigger, left bracket is smaller, and there we go. Looking pretty good, I think. And if you click the move tool, that kind of deselects your tools and gets everything going better. Or, sorry, put your cursor kind of back to normal. Let's see, I was just thinking select, and we can deselect when we're done. Photoshop, that's something I use myself a lot, so if I stutter around a little bit, bear with me please. Okay, so car picture is pretty much ready. We're going to go ahead and file open, and I'm going to go find your rendering. We're going to open that up, and there we go. Again, Alt and roller will zoom in, spacebar and left click hold pan, and we're going to go over to our tools, and this time we're looking for the quick selection tool. And what we're doing here is you're going to left click hold, or just even left click sometimes in these white spaces, and it's pretty good at finding the spots you want. So just be careful that some of these are reflections, and some of those are going through. Now here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and I actually think that there's a little bit of a reflection here, or if it's just grabbing too much, hold Alt, and this time I'm just going to kind of left click. It's going to deselect some area, and if it's too much, well then you just kind of left click again and hold. And you kind of go back and forth selecting or deselecting what you don't want, and the computer learns kind of what you're trying to get. Or you can make your bracket, use the bracket keys above the enter to make your cursor smaller. Allows you to zoom in there. I left click, did a little holding, and that's looking pretty good. I'm going to zoom back out, make my bracket, if I just hold, it's going to make my bracket way bigger. And I'm just going to left click and hold here a little bit, and pretty quickly that selects all the white space around the tire. And here's the key. We're actually going to right click and select the inverse. What that means is that now, we'll hit the move tool. Now technically our tire and wheel are selected. And it's pretty simple. We're just going to left click hold. You can see they're dragging away, and you're going to go up to the tab that has your car photo. It switches, and I'm still holding my left click, and let go. And there it is. Alt roller zooms out. One thing to pay attention to now is that we have two objects. We have our background, and we've just dropped in a layer 1, which is our front tire. And this layer is highlighted. Now the background's highlighted, layer 1's highlighted. In the top of our window, we can click Show Transform Tools. And now we have a little box here, and the reason that's handy is because we can shift and hold from the corner and resize. And what you're going to do is you're going to use the old tire to help you size and figure out just where this needs to go. Basically, I'm going to set my tire on the ground, and then I'm just going to size it to match up. Drag it back over. Control Z that move. Control Alt Z will let you usually go back a couple of moves. Really want to make sure you hold that shift key the whole time. We want to make sure we maintain that proper proportion. And we just want to get pretty close. Let's look at, I'm looking closely down in here, kind of back in here to see how that tire's lining up. Again, and on the bottom as well. Just a little bit that way. There we go. I think that looks good. Okay. Now the next step, because it just looks goofy, I think, yet. And hopefully you see the same. The reason it looks really goofy at this point still is because our tire is out in front of the car. It needs to look like it's back inside the fender of the car to look correct. So what I'm going to do is, this layer is still active. It's really important, but we're going to go grab the eraser tool. Oh, sorry, first you have to apply any size changes that you made. Yep, that's good. Eraser tool is just this one here. left click hold, it shows you just to make sure you're getting the one you want. And we're actually going to go in here and carefully erase. I'm going to zoom in. I'm erasing my tire. And this way it goes. And what I'm looking for is when I erase back, I want to see the edge of the fender. See just that little bit, this little bit of fender showing now, and that's perfect. Right back to the eraser tool, and that's going to give the illusion that all of a sudden that tire is back in behind or inside that fender. Oop, a little bit too much. I'm going to Control Z, put some back. Control Z, I'm going to make this bracket a little bit smaller. There we go. Just working that over, and look at that. Zoom back out. Spacebar hold, left click hold, and very quickly our tire and wheel is looking pretty good on the car. Zoom back in. Now it's time to do a few Photoshop tricks, I guess, to help make this look better yet. One thing I'm going to do is go down to this tool. It's called the blur tool, and I'm going to kind of hit the edges of the tire to get rid of any little selections that didn't quite work out right when we were first bringing that tire in from its original photo. You can see that kind of helps soften those edges, which just make the tire, because rubber just kind of has that natural soft appearance, and that just makes it look a little bit better, even up in here. And you want to keep like left clicking it with each pass. The more you left click hold on a spot, the more it'll blur it. So left click, left click, left click. Down here, just hit these a little bit more too. Make the bracket a little bigger. Just try to make sure I get rid of some of the little bit of highlights. Okay, and then pan, so I can see that back tire too. Looking pretty good. I'm going to go click the move tool. That's kind of the default to make sure it's not accidentally doing anything else I don't want to. And then you can see, our wheel and tire is still highlighted. What I want to do here now is go to image and make adjustments. And really I found you could try doing the exposure. If you just crank this up or down, you can see how that makes a big effect on things. So you could play with exposure a little bit if you want. I have found that usually just brightness and contrast make a big difference. Brightness might help get that chrome looking a little shinier. Contrast though is going to help make your tire look darker. I'm actually going to back that chrome down a little bit. And look at that. Just kind of watch that back wheel. This is going to help us. Inventor Studio is good at, I think, helping get you really close. Excuse me. Inventor Studio helps get you pretty close, but with Photoshop you can just really kind of take it to another level of what it should look like. And again, we're all very beginners at this. I think something like here is pretty good work for those of us who have never used Photoshop before. I'm going to click OK, and I'm just going to click anywhere off or down here to deselect any layers, and voila, that's, I think it's a pretty good job. I'm pretty pleased with the turnout on that right now, and not too hard. I think we can all take care of that, no problem. And then what you would do is, if you're going to do the rear tire, you could actually just come right back here. Move tool still selected. Left click hold. drag up to that first tab again, or your car photos, come back here, let go, and we're just gonna start the process all over again. Of course, after you darken out that spot to make sure that it's easier to put this in, okay? So with that, good luck. I can't wait to see what you come up with.